Hi everybody, today we're going to read A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. So, what do you guys see on the cover of this book? I see a girl and she has stripes on her face. She has red, yellow, green, blue, and orange stripes on her face. She also has stripes on her arms. There's stripes on her shoulders. There's stripes all over her body. I wonder how she got those stripes. I wonder how she got the stripes. Is she dreaming? Did she take markers or crayons? Did she eat something? Did she eat strawberries? Did she eat blueberries? Did she eat vegetables? What made her turn so many different colors? Did she eat candy? Did she eat colorful candy? Maybe she ate red candy, yellow candy, blue candy, orange candy. Maybe she ate colorful candy. Maybe the candy caused her to turn different colors. What do you guys think? Do you think she ate candy? Do you think the candy made her turn different colors? Let's read and find out. A Bad Case of Stripes. A Bad Case of Stripes. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camilla always worried about what other people thought of her. Today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. So look, this is her friend. This is Camilla. So her name is Camilla Cream. So Camilla loved lima beans. So she loves lima beans. So she loves to eat lima beans. But she never ate them because her friends hated lima beans. So because her friends don't like lima beans, she doesn't eat them. But Camilla likes lima beans. But she did that so she could fit in. So the other friends at school like her. And so today is the first day of school. So Camilla is trying to find what to wear. She's trying to decide what to wear. What can she possibly wear? And she tried on 42 different outfits. 42. That's so many different times to change your clothes. 42 outfits. And she wanted to look her best so she can make a first good impression. So she found a red dress and looked in the mirror, and then she screamed. So look, she found this red dress and then she looked in the mirror and she screamed. I wonder why she screamed. I wonder what she saw that made her scream. What do you think she saw? What do you think made Camilla scream? I wonder what she saw in the mirror. When she looked in the mirror, let's see. Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. Oh my heavens, she cried. You're completely covered with stripes. This was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Miss Cream felt Camilla's forehead. Do you feel all right, she asked. I feel fine, Camilla answered. But just look at me. You get back in bed this instant, her mother ordered. You're not going to school today. Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of the other kids would say. And she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. So she looked in the mirror and Camilla saw stripes. So she screamed as loud as she could because she saw stripes when she looked in the mirror. And then her mom came in and saw the stripes and said, Camilla, you're not going to school. You don't feel well. You're not going to school. So now Camilla is in bed. So she's going to miss the first day of school because she's not feeling well. So she's going to miss the first day of school because she's not feeling well and she has stripes. So I wonder what's going to happen next. I wonder, is Camilla going to feel better? What is she going to do to feel better? What do your parents do when you feel sick? Maybe she's going to have some soup or take medicine or maybe go to the doctor. Let's see. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. Most extraordinary, he exclaimed. I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncomfortable twitching? No, Camilla told him. I feel fine. Well then, Dr. Bumble, she said, turning to Miss Cream, I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me. And off he went. So the doctor came. So sometimes we don't feel well, we go to the doctor. So the doctor came to examine Camilla. So the doctor's examining her. And he's shocked because he's never seen anyone with stripes before. And he's asking her if she feels well. He's asking her if she has a cough, sneezing, a runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, or shortness of breath. And she's saying no, she feels fine. She doesn't feel anything. She doesn't have a fever. She's not coughing, no runny nose. And Camilla's saying, I feel fine. I feel fine. She feels fine. So Dr. Bumble, it tells her mom that since she feels fine, he sees no reason why she shouldn't go to school. So he gave her some ointment for the stripes. So he says if the stripes don't go away in a few days, to go and find him. So let's see, are those stripes gonna go away tomorrow, the next day? Or is Camilla still gonna have stripes? Is she gonna go to school with stripes? What do you guys think? Is she gonna go to school with stripes? What are the other kids gonna say when they see Camilla with stripes? What are they gonna do? Let's see. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal. But when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. So, look. This is Camilla, and she went to school. So she went to school. And it was a disaster. The kids are making fun of her. They're calling her Camilla Crayon. They're calling her Night of the Living Lollipop. So the friends aren't being nice. Her friends are not being nice at all to her. But Camilla's stripes changed colors. So in school, they were saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And Camilla changed colors. She went from having red stripes, yellow, green, blue, orange, purple stripes, to having red, blue, and white stripes, and then stars too. And then she started crying. I wonder what's gonna happen. Is she gonna continue changing color? Is this ever going to stop? Is she going to continue going to school? Let's see what's going to happen. What do you guys think? The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." Sure enough, Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard," and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you can change channels on a TV. So look, so the kids are continuing to make fun of her, and they're not being nice. And the kids are screaming different things. So one classmate yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." So one friend said, "Let's see purple polka dots." And when he said that, purple polka dots appeared on Camilla's skin. Then another friend said, "I want to see a checkerboard." And checkerboards appeared on Camilla's skin. And then another friend said, then other friends were calling out different shapes, and different shapes were appearing on Camilla's skin. So whatever everyone says, that's what she changed it into. So if someone says turn red, she's gonna turn red. Or if someone says I want to see stars, Camilla stars appear on her skin. So she's changing so fast. And look, she went home and her parents are concerned. They're worried. They don't know what to do. What's gonna happen? Is she gonna continue changing colors? Is this ever going to stop? What will Camilla do? Would she go to school? Let's see. Well, yes, I see, Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I'd better bring in the specialist. We'll be right over." About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Grope, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialist went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. "Well, it's not the mumps," concluded Dr. Grope. "Or the measles," said Dr. Sponge. "Definitely not chickenpox," put in Dr. Cricket. "Or sunbird," said Dr. Young. "Try these," said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. Take one of each before bed," said Dr. Grope. Then they filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. So look, Dr. Bumble brought in specialists. He brought special doctors to look at Camilla. So they're looking all over to figure out what is wrong. So it's not chickenpox. She doesn't have measles. She doesn't have mumps. She doesn't have a sunburn. It's not any of that. So they just give pills and the doctors go. So they still didn't figure out why Camilla is changing colors. What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Camilla's going to go to school? Do you think she's going to go to school? Do you think she's going to stay home? How are these stripes going to stop? How are they going to stop? Let's see. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different. But when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror and there, staring back at her, was a gigantic, multicolored pill with her face on it. So she took the pills that the doctor gave her, and look what happened to Camilla. What do you guys see? She turned into a pill. Her clothes aren't fitting right. Look, her body changed shape, and she looks like a big pill with different colors on it. Uh-oh. So now the stripes So the stripes left, but now Camilla's a different shape. She's the shape of a pill. And her clothes don't even fit right. What do you think Camilla's gonna do? Is she gonna go to school? Is she gonna stay home? Are the doctors gonna come again? What do you think is gonna happen next? Let's see. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Miss Cream called, but this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the experts. Dr. Grood and Dr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camilla was poked and prodded, looked and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers, then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Ground finally spoke. I think it might be a virus, he announced with authority. Suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. Or probably some sort of bacteria, said Mr. Mellon. Out popped quinky little bacterial tails. Or it could be a fungus, added Dr. Grood. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camilla, then at each other. We need to go over these numbers again. Back at the lab, Dr. Grood explained. We'll call you when we know something. But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. So now, the doctor brought in experts. So more doctors came, and they looked at Camilla, and to see what is wrong with her. Why is she changing colors? Why is she changing shape? So they said maybe it's a virus. So when the doctor said it's a virus, viruses started to appear on her body. Then they said bacteria, and out popped squiggly little bacterial tails. And then they said a fungus, and then Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. So whatever they're saying, whatever the doctors are saying, it's what is appearing on Camilla. So they don't know what's wrong with her. So I wonder what Camilla's going to do next. So the experts don't know. The specialists don't know. The doctor doesn't know what's wrong with Camilla. So what is Camilla going to do? Is she never going to go to school? Is she always going to be changing colors? How is this going to end? Let's see what happens next. By now, the TV news had found out about Camilla. Reporters from every channel were outside her house telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. So look, now everyone learned about Camilla and how she's changing colors. It's on the news now. News reporters are outside the house. Look, everyone's banging on the door. Open up, open up. Look, everyone's taking pictures. New reporters are in front of the house. They all want to know what's going on. So look at the big crowd of people outside of Camilla's house. So what's going to happen next? What is Camilla going to do? What is her family going to do? Will the stripes continue? How are they going to stop? Let's see what happens. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, physics, and old medicine man, a guru, and a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. Look, this is Camilla now. Now we don't even recognize her. You can't even recognize that this is Camilla. She has branches, leaves, she has feathers, She's green. She's purple. She has a long furry tail. She has spots. She has crystals. She's purple. She's yellow. She has roots. You cannot even recognize Camilla anymore. Different doctors gave medicine and nothing's working. It's getting worse. We don't even recognize Camilla. So what's gonna happen? Is she gonna continue changing? How is she gonna go back to normal? How is she gonna go back to how she was? Let's see. One day, a woman who called her an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camilla. Close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, Camilla groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth. Her nose was a dresser, and two paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. What are we going to do? Cried Miss Cream. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She began to sob. So now Camilla is her room. So now an environmental therapist came and told her to close her eyes and breathe and become one with her room. And then she told her to breathe deeply and become one with her room. And when the therapist said that, Camilla became the room. So now Camilla is the room. So the bed is Camilla's mouth. The paintings are her eyes. The dresser is her nose. So now she's a room. So what's gonna happen next? She's a room now. How is she gonna go back to normal? She can't even move now. So how is Camilla going to go back to normal? What's gonna happen? Is she gonna stay there forever? Is she gonna go to school, her friends? Let's see what happens. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. So now someone else came to the house. So at the door, they heard a little knock at the front door, and the parents opened it. And there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. So they opened the door, and this little lady was at the door. So she said, excuse me, but I think I can help. So she's saying that she knows how to help Camilla. I wonder, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna give Camilla pills? Is she gonna give her a cream? Is she gonna tell her to do something? Is she gonna tell her to eat something? What do you think she's gonna tell Camilla to do? How do you think she's gonna go back to normal? Let's see if this lady's gonna be able to help Camilla, or is she gonna leave like everyone else? Let's see. She went into Camilla's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Asked Miss Cream. Oh my, no, replied the kind woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you'd like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camilla. Camilla wanted a big, heaping plate full of lima beans, more than just about anything. But she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, the old lady said sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in the bag and started toward the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she's been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. Said Camilla. So this lady had lima beans in her bag. So remember in the beginning of the book, we learned that Camilla loves lima beans, but she doesn't eat them. Why doesn't she eat lima beans? You remember? She doesn't eat lima beans because her friends don't like eating lima beans. And because her friends don't like eating them, she doesn't want to eat them either. So the little old lady took some lima beans out of her bag and was about to give them to Camilla. And Camilla said, no, I don't want to eat lima beans. I don't like them. And then the little old lady was about to leave. And then Camilla said, yes, I like lima beans. I love to eat lima beans. So look, the little old lady is putting the lima beans in Camilla's mouth. So what do you guys think is going to happen now? What do you think is going to happen now that Camilla's going to eat the lima beans? Is she going to turn back to normal? Do you think she's going to turn back to normal? To the way she was? Or is she going to stay the way she is? Let's see. Suddenly the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. I'm cursed, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camilla on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. So look, this is Camilla. So she's back to normal. So now she doesn't have any branches on her. There's no feathers and squiggly tails, and everything began to disappear. So she's back to her normal self. So all she had to do was eat lima beans, and now she's back to normal. So now she's back to her normal self. So I wonder what she's gonna do next. Is she now since she ate lima beans, is she going to continue eating lima beans? Is she going to go to school now? I wonder what her friends are going to think now that she doesn't have any stripes on her anymore. Let's see. Afterward, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had even a touch of stripes again. So look, now she's in school, and she doesn't have any stripes anymore. The stripes went away. So now she's back to her normal self. And now at school, she eats lima beans. Before, when she would go to school, she would not eat lima beans because her other friends didn't like them, and she was afraid that her friends were going to make fun of her. But now she doesn't care that her friends are gonna make fun of her. She likes lima beans, so she eats the lima beans. So look, here is Camilla. She's in school. She has a plate, and she has a plate full of lima beans that she's eating. The end.